So this is our most recent coop we just built a few weeks ago. The only things they're using the coop for are nesting boxes, for laying eggs in the day and then sleeping at night in the roost. So with the roost, the way you calculate is 6 inches per bird of linear roosting space. So you just calculate, it's 500 linear feet in this coop actually. And so that means 1,000 birds can comfortably roost in there. And so we really changed the designs of our coops over the years. I mean, we built our first mobile pastured egg coop probably about 25 years ago. And that was after visiting Joel Salatin up in Virginia and kind of copying some of his styles that he had at the time. And a big difference of our coops today from what we started building in the beginning, our original coops were completely closed in. They had wire floors and kind of walls and wire sides. That way at nighttime, we could close the chickens in, and if we needed to move the coop or whatever, we could do that. And the main reason was to protect them from predators, where now we no longer have a predator issue because we have guard dogs that live with our chickens, and that's eliminated the need to have to close the chickens up at night. So literally, our chickens have access to all this open pasture 24/7 year round. If they want to get out in the middle of the night and go scratch around, they can. Yeah, so this new design is really cool. It makes it cheaper and faster and easier to build because we're not having to build a floor and we're not having to build walls. So, and the other advantage of that is when you have a floor, the chicken manure piles up and then you're having to scrape out chicken crap. And with this open floor system, the chicken manure just falls straight down on the ground, fertilizing the ground, and then we don't have to deal with that buildup. It's good to point out that this is a great design for our climate here in the southeast, where we really don't have extreme winters at all, but we do have really extreme hot summers. So this open, super ventilated space is great in the summer because you have maximum airflow coming in, keeping the chickens cool at night and plenty of fresh air. And then in the winter time, if we were in a colder climate, we probably would consider having maybe even like roll down sides to protect from wind and rain and that kind of thing. But that's just not an issue here in Tennessee. So we love this open air design with lots of roosting space and the rollout nest boxes on the sides. It works really great, and we're still using the same lighting system in here. This is our lighting setup. It's super simple. There's a little solar panel up on the roof, and that comes down and charges a 12-volt battery, and then with that, we just have a little control panel here that is essentially, it's an automatic timer that turns these little tiny lights. You can see, I mean, they barely even put off any light at all. So some people think of lighting like, oh, that's unnatural, but really, light is not unnatural at all. Obviously, the sun is shining every day, and this lighting, all it's doing is it's kind of sending a signal to the chickens that like, oh, this is a good time of year for you to be laying eggs. And so all it's doing is helping have a steady lay rate throughout the year, which really for anybody, even if you're a backyard producer, you might want to consider having lighting. That way, when winter hits and the days are really short and it's dark, you still have eggs. Whereas without the lighting, they might just completely shut down and stop laying eggs. It's made a big improvement actually in our overall amount of eggs we get every year. We did weld on to the back that just a basic receiver hitch that you would have on the back of your truck. And so what this is capable of doing is actually we could attach a second coop to the back of this one, essentially creating a train of chicken coops, and that's just for saving time. Like anything we can do to make this a more efficient system, make the moves take less time, or any aspect of what we're doing more efficient, that's saving us time and money. So yeah, our feeding system, as you see, we're feeding completely by hand, which is actually very labor intensive. It does add cost to our production. But the reason that we do that is it's important to actually give them the right amount of feed per day. One, just from a business point of view, we're buying certified organic feed, which is essentially 50 cents a pound, which is double the price of conventional GMO feed. Any extra feed these birds are eating is extremely expensive and hurting our bottom line. But even more important than that is like the health aspect of overeating. When a chicken eats too much feed, they actually build up internal fat, and that affects their reproductive system. When they build up that fat, it's essentially restricting their ovaries, and they're going to lay less eggs and have other health problems down the road. We always feed a quarter pound of feed per day per chicken. So that's the reason we feed by hand, is that we know one bucket of feed weighs essentially 28 pounds. And so what we're doing is we're calculating how many pounds of feed based on how many buckets of feed we're putting out every day. And so that's how we make that calculation. Okay, say we have 1,000 birds, that means they need 250 pounds of feed a day. Yeah, and about the organic feed, I mean, this is a super important point that I feel very strongly about. That there's so many pasture-raised operations that are doing all this stuff right, they're managing their land right, and then they're going and buying, conventional GMO or conventional non-GMO feeds. And for me, I just feel like that's completely defeating the purpose of what we're trying to do. It's almost like, what, are you just doing it just from a marketing perspective? Like, oh, we have pasture-raised eggs. For us at Sequatchie Cove Farm, like, we believe so deeply about creating an entire system that doesn't rely on kind of these chemical fertilizers and, and GMOs and that kind of thing. So we pay double the amount for our feed to get certified organic. And what that means at the end of the day is we spend an extra $50,000 per year to get organic. I could easily be feeding conventional GMO feed and literally be pocketing $50,000 profit and just not tell anybody, and nobody would know the difference. But this is just an example of, we just believe in doing the right thing, and feeding organic is doing the right thing. How we handle feed on this scale, what we have right out here is a mobile feed bin that holds 3 tons of feed. So we're able to just drive this along and move it as we move our coops and pull the feeders behind. So this is all portable. That's just a practical thing of what we do, and it's a big improvement over like handling bags, 50-pound bags of feed or totes of feed is just a real pain and a lot of work. So this is just another example of kind of creating efficiency in our production methods.